Yeah, just kind of watching the market here. Pull down, bounce back up again. Again, here's the new all-time high right here. 610.99. We're 20 cents higher than the old one. Q's just sideways. APP pulling back slightly. Again, very volatile stock, APP. So if you trade it, just be really, really careful because the options fly around. These candles are, this is a $5 candle right here, so that's, this thing really moves. Pretty compressed market right now. Again, watching Apple just compressing. Nothing to entice me to dive into this thing. BX still moving up a little bit. Shopify having a nice day. We're back up into above the 127 level again. Yeah, watching the market here, just no conviction right now at all. And I'm not going to take Apple when it's showing relative weakness to the market. It's certainly not showing relative strength right now. So I'm just watching. Apple doesn't really have relative strength. I'm not going to touch it right now. Triple Q is pulling back a little bit, and APP holding up pretty nicely actually. Again, just watching the apples. It's just kind of compressing. I'm not going to touch it right now. Just sliding sideways. Market also pulling back a little bit. We're getting a lot of market chop now, compressing and chop. APP still holding up pretty nicely. Doesn't seem to be impacted by the market at all right now. Very tough to trade though. The options are widespread and they move like crazy. This thing has a massive implied volatility. These are $5 candles, most of these candles, so your option prices just fluctuate wildly. Let's see. JC, if you don't sell the urban calls, will you get assigned the shares? Well, urban is the strike price we got on urban is 57. It's trading at 54.70. So first of all, you own the calls. You actually have the option. You can, if it goes above 57, you can tell your brokerage house you don't want them. It's actually called you're electing to take the shares, but because you have the right to buy them, but you don't have to buy them. But a lot of times they'll actually give them to you on an assignment. They really shouldn't, but they do that. But it would have to be above 57. If it's below 57, the calls are out of the money. There's no way you're going to get any shares. If it's above 57, you just call them and tell them if you don't want to own the shares, you tell them and you don't have to because you have calls. It's your prerogative whether you take the shares or not. APP showing a little bit of a tiny pullback here. Q's coming down pretty hard. SPY coming down pretty hard. Pretty good pullback in the market here now. And the app also pulling back down. T2104 about as flat as a pancake today. Hasn't barely moved. Apple also coming back a little bit. And app's coming back a little bit, but not a lot. What percentage implied volatility have to cross, which you consider, where you won't consider buying the contract? For intraday trades, if I'm trading something like APP, I'm looking for the volatility to be high because that's what I'm looking for. If I get the move right, I'm going to make more money on it. I don't not take a trade with high implied volatility for an intraday trade. For longer term trades, it's more of a problem because if you get a really high implied volatility, If you like a stock, it's probably better to do like a put credit spread on it, because the premiums you collect will probably be pretty high. But for intraday trading, you know, getting high implied volatility is going to mean that the premiums and the options are going to fly all over the place. So you have to be comfortable with that. So again, this is not for folks that are risk averse, or don't watch the P&Ls and freak out if the stock goes against them. SPY coming down, putting in a hammer now. Same thing with the Qs. Right, it's about 11:30, 11:24. Getting a little bit of weakness in the market now. T-Doc coming in off the high. Shopify holding up nicely here in this market pullback. Get good relative strength in Shopify. SPY bouncing here off of a hammer. Q's bouncing off of a hammer. IWM coming off of a tiny hammer. And app bouncing up. Market hasn't really done an awful lot today. If we look at app has, but not the SPY. Look at the SPY. Here's our open here this morning. Nice little gap up. Made a new all-time high. Pulled back, bounced up, pulled back, trying to bounce back up again. We're not really going anyplace. It's a nice green candle here though. Still watching Apple, but I've lost a little bit of interest in it because it doesn't have relative strength right now. I'll watch it later today and see what it looks like. App also trying to bounce off of the 15. App trying to bounce. SPY again putting a hammer in and now trying to bounce. It's just really choppy action here. I can't really jump in any of these trades. Still like app for long here though, bouncing right off the 15. Very tough options to trade. No, I'd say tough, but risky. Cedric, you're right. The SPY, the shop is operating, working very well. It's got relative strength to the market, grinding up nicely on Shopify. I like Shopify. Liked it yesterday. Like it still. I haven't even looked at the option prices on it. I think we paid about $9 for it, and had a pullback. They're trading at $8.90 right now, so they're just about what we paid for them on Shopify. But the setup is really nice on the daily chart. This is Shopify right here. Nice volume. See the volume candles in here? Big volume candles. This was earnings. Big volume candles. Another big volume candle. Another big volume candle. And moving up today, trying to break out. Want to see it get over that 128. That would give you a breakout. And again, that's an all-time high in Shopify. No, it's not. Sorry, it's not an all-time. It's the high since 2022. Shop coming down, APP coming down, SPY coming down. Very choppy action right now. Nothing to get me into any of these trades right now. Just kind of watching the market here. You can see that it's just chopping around. Index is not doing anything here. App pulled back a little bit. Apple just moving sideways. Moderna trying to creep up a little bit, and Tesla came down pretty hard. Now just moving sideways. A lot of compression here, just not an awful lot to trade. Alfie, how you doing, big boy?
He's just sulking or something. I don't know.
He's relaxed.
Do you want me his food? When he wouldn't come out there when I was out there?
He doesn't eat his food a lot of times in the morning. Then he gets all of a sudden gets hungry and races over to it.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide how to do the things I need to do.
Do?
He didn't charge last night because I fell asleep and
You have a 1 o'clock class today?
yeah, at the office cafeteria. Yeah, I'm just doing a couple things.
Guess we can eat pizza after that.
Yeah.
If you want pizza.
Pizza. Or do you turn that down?
Pizza, whatever.
I mean, it's pizza over here. Pizza is.
You turned it down the other night because you didn't feel good.
Yeah, well, I can turn it down, okay? I don't think turning it down would have been the right word.
Of course you wouldn't, because it would have made you a liar.
I know. My stomach is messed up. Most pieces I woke up.
Your mom went to bed early today.
Yeah.
Been up till like 11:30.
I know. She had a
Probably on adrenaline.
yeah.
Got the adrenaline crash.
Yeah. Oh. Alfie, come eat.
Go see Alfie. Alfie, go see Alfie. Want to go see Allison? Allison's in bed again. Go get her.
Come here. Let me plan something. Let me plan something.
He's a planner, there's no question about it.
Yeah. It's right, sweetie. It's right, sweetie. There's a lot of walks and it's so nice out, huh?
Cold out.
It's great. I love it. I almost brought a jacket, but it was supposed to be warm and rainy, so I didn't know.
No.
This weather's crazy. It's my kind of weather, though.
You like it cool, yeah?
I know. I gotta find something to Bonds I can borrow and then wash.
Well, there's a bunch of jackets in there. Had to step away for a minute. Just came back. I'm not seeing much, except a lot of chop in the market. Nice little run up this morning. Now we're just chopping. Q's doing the same thing. IWM doing the same thing. Actually, IWM coming down a little bit more. Apple, a little bit of a bounce here now. All of a sudden, we get a little bit more relative strength in Apple here. Again, I'm eyeing it to take a long. App pulling back toward the VWAP. John, how do we get the checklist to enter a trade? Trade the best, skip the rest. Yeah, the checklist to enter a trade, this is what we're looking for right here, okay? If you're going to swing trade, now this is not for the SPY Super System. SPY Super System just focuses on right here, this current time frame momentum. So if we were looking to trade the SPY, we'd be looking for using the current time frame momentum. This is bearish right now, yellow and red bearish. You'd be waiting to take it off the VWAP, this pink line, or this red line, this 15 EMA. This would be the support and resistance level. So this would right now would be the resistance level to the upside on the SPY. So if you were taking it short here, for example, you would your exit to take a loss would be if it closed above the 15 EMA, closed above the 15 EMA, not just went above it, but closed above it. Because that's our support resistance level right now. Now in regular trades, it is going to be could be swing trades. First thing you do is check the daily chart. Make sure the daily chart is bullish if you're going to go long, and bearish if you're going to go short. And then when you time your entry, use the 5-minute chart to try to find a good entry for the longs. In other words, if it comes down to the VWAP and bounces, that's a good place to take it long as the daily chart's long. And the indicators on the SPY Super System here, the compass system, the SPY Super System, these would need to be, if you're going long, green or blue, both on the current time frame and the multi-time frame on the daily chart. All right, so if I was looking at something like Apple, and I wanted to go long the stock, which I do, I'd switch over to the daily chart and see what my indicators are telling me. They're telling me that we're long on the multi-time frame momentum and long on the current time frame momentum. Now the trend is still yellow, but this is what I would focus on right here. So I like it as a long. The daily chart looks pretty nice here. Notice to get some resistance up around here, but that tells us we've got bullish on both the multi-time frame and the current time frame momentum. So that's what I talk about the indicators aligning for the trade. And then we look for stocks with relative strength and relative weakness. Apple had relative strength this morning, then it gave up relative strength, and now if I take a look at what the SPY is doing, see the SPY is pulling down a little bit, and Apple's moving up. That's relative strength. It's regained relative strength right now. And have patience, really important. Yeah, trade the best, skip the rest. That's the saying that I use for the room. But of course, it's easier said than done. Finding the best. Skipping the rest is the most critical thing. Don't take trades that are mediocre type trades, especially if they don't have the indicators aligned for you. In other words, we're trying to follow the institutions into trades. That's what it boils down to. APP pull back. Trying to bounce off the VWAP here. Chop continues. Just chop. This is a chop fest here. This is what we've been used to seeing most days lately. Shop's still holding up pretty nicely here. BX pulled back a little bit. Not a lot. Still holding up with good relative strength, actually. Don't like to see that on our shorts. Apple looks better here now. It's got good relative strength. It's bouncing off the 15. I think I'm going to take some calls on Apple. I'm going to go to February 28th. Take the 237.50s. About $9. This is a Feb 28th, 237.50 calls. for about $8.90 to $8.95. I'll just say $8.95. Okay, that's Apple. Again, long Apple. Pretty choppy market here. Again, there's not much continuation at all. This was a decent candle, but it's over that quickly with a hammer. And now we're just chopping here. Hughes doing the same thing. IWM doing the same thing. Again, we took Apple. Shopify doing fine, up nicely here. BX still moving up. Still no weakness in that yet. AAP got weak, and now it's not AAP, APP. Wrong one. Yeah, still weak. Back below the VWAP now on APP. Venue, based on my guidance yesterday on Delta, the Delta guessed 237.50 before I announced it. Now that's good. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. You know, I got to look at this bit. I got to look at the bid-ask spreads on them and the volume, etc. too, before I make an exact decision, because I might change the strike price or I might change the expiration date. But they were pretty good. Those have a they have a volume today on the Apple calls of whoops, wrong one, February 28th. They get a volume of about a little over 400 contracts, and a little over 1,000 of open interest on them. Filled at 8.95, Terry. Okay, very good on Apple. SPY coming down again. It's just dropping here. Triple Qs also. Again, we're in Apple now. Apple's also pulling back a little bit right now. IWM as well. Just not much follow through on any of these moves right now. Tiny moves. Just basically mixed red and green candles. No pace, no momentum. APP's coming in pretty, yeah, okay. These aren't really big either. Shay. Yeah, the volatility lottos on APP are paying up nicely there. The volatility is massive on these things. Risky as hell. You're right about that. Trading APP is very risky. If you catch it in the right direction, it's great. If it goes against you, they strip away the premiums really quickly. So when you take an option in an app, they typically are lottos anyway. You've got to be prepared to take a full loss, pretty close to a full loss on any calls or puts that you buy. I don't think personally I wouldn't be doing puts on a stock that's up $18, but calls can just. I mean, this thing is trading at 490. It could be to 510 in the next hour, or it could be back down to 475. So.
Members on this FA and Janus volatility talk.bet in talks to buy Double Eagle. That's coming from social media, Wall Street Journal.
Shy pointing out that I wouldn't take any puts on the stock. It was up $18, I mentioned, as far as APP is concerned. It's between. I actually did take some puts on APP yesterday and had a good trade on it. On the daily chart. It was pulled back from that was off earnings. It had a big, huge run up yesterday. And if you look at the chart, it started down and got below the VWAP and just kept on running down for a couple of hours during the late morning, early afternoon. And I did take puts there. It was in a gap. It basically was a gap fill trade that I was taking. So today it's you're not talking about a gap fill. That's the difference, Shy, on that one. It was a gap fill. We're going to be looking for, waiting for supports, sign of supports and apt to do a CD call debit spread for next week. Okay, yeah, that's probably a good thought. You know, I've noticed that getting call debit spreads in this thing when these premiums this high, though, the fills aren't that great. It's hard to get in for like a $10 spread for under $5. It's fine, just chopping around here, putting in another little hammer. Very uneventful here. Would it be wise to add to BX on a pop higher? No, it would not. The stock is up near the 50-day moving average. We got to see this thing reverse back down again. It's important to understand that you don't add to a losing trade just because you can get it cheaper. There's a reason you can get it cheaper, because the stock's gone against you. What you need to find is that if on a short that it goes to resistance and the resistance holds and then it reverses and goes back into the original trend again. Now you still could get in cheaper, but you'll have a confirmation of the reversal back into the original trend. Just to take an additional put because you can get them cheaper now because the stock has gone against you is frankly is not a good trade. That's crazy. You're just adding because it's cheaper, not because you've got any technical reasons to trade. You're making the assumption the stock's going to turn around and head back down again. We don't know that. We need confirmation of that. So no, Venue, I would not do that. Well, 12:15 here. Gonna take lunch here in about 10 minutes. So I'll shut the YouTube feed down in about 10 minutes. Again, market just chopping around here. Can't really say anything that I see particularly strong. We did take Apple, so we'll see where it goes. Swinging Apple. APP's pulled back pretty, still coming back in. Dash is a pretty nice setup here. Very bullish on the daily chart. Very bullish on the 5-minute chart. Nice look on Dash here. He's still coming in. SPY still coming in. Very small candles here. You get these mixed big candles, big green candles, big red candles, then a bunch of tiny little candles. Just not much going on. Again, we took Apple. We'll see how this goes. Gonna have to hold it for a bit. Shopify still doing pretty nice, holding up very bullish. BX unfortunately also bullish. We're starting to come back down a little bit now. And there's a SPY just moving sideways. All right, I'm going to grab something to eat here. This is a pretty market turn from a nice grinding higher grinding market this morning to basically garbage right now. Just chopping around, so I'm not going to mess around with it. So I'll be getting some lunch. I'll be back in just a little bit. And I'm going to shut down YouTube feed. Thank you very much, folks at YouTube. Appreciate you being here today. We'll be back on Tuesday. Markets closed on Monday. So we'll be opening the YouTube feed on Tuesday around 11 o'clock or so. Have a great weekend.